Greetings class. The purpose for this video is to briefly walk you through the behavioral interview form so you can have hopefully a better understanding of what's expected here. Keep in mind that you're not going to actually be interviewing anyone for the actual behavioral interview. The way I would like you to think about this is as though you are an HR specialist who has been asked to support a hiring manager in an organization. And the way that you're going to do that is put together a behavioral interview form for the hiring manager to actually use to interview candidates for the job. So suppose that the job that I am going to work with is retail sales associate, and that's really the only thing you need to put in there, because the candidate name, we don't have one, you don't know who the interviewer is, and you don't know the date. So if this were actually for a real organization, that's what I would expect. What you see next in the, I'm just going to number these so they're easier to track. Number 1, 2, and 3 simply identify potential areas that might be on your list of things that you would want to interview, or I'm sorry, that the hiring manager might want to interview potential candidates on. Where do you get the tasks, KSAOs, or work activities from? Well, the first and second one should come right from your job description. And the third, work activities, you can go to ONET, and towards the bottom of the task-oriented section, you'll find a variety of work activities that might be appropriate to use. You don't have to use any or all of these. My expectation is that you'll select between 4 to 6 total task KSAOs or work activities in order to to design your interview. So I'm just going to build one example. So let's say that I were going to evaluate a KSAO for retail sales associate, and the KSAO is going to be customer interactions. Okay, not the best choice of how to word that, but that's what we're going to work with. What I would do is I would simply create or identify up to 6, so between 4 and 6 different areas to evaluate. So another one might be shorthand version of a task would be to cash out customers using okay, so again, in total would be 6. You should simply copy and paste these from your job description, but for the sake of this example, I'm just going to make them up very quickly. So again, total of 6. If you use just tasks, that's fine. If you use just KSAOs, that's fine. It doesn't matter as long as you've got about 6. And what this is doing is simply indicating for this behavioral interview which are the key areas that we're going to interview on. If you copy and paste everything from your job description under tasks and KSAOs, then I would expect to see behavioral interview questions for everything on the job description, which is certainly not what we would actually do in real life, nor is it what is expected for your assignment. Okay, so we'll leave that alone for a second. Opening questions. This is where you can identify between 3 and 5 or so opening questions, and the purpose for this section is to simply begin building rapport with the person, as well as to get them talking about some different areas related to the job that might be of interest to you. So for example, you might ask a question specifically about something from their resume, or you might ask something along the lines of share with me some things that you like best about your current job. Now, a question like this, it's easy to answer. They can, share whatever they want, but it gets very interesting what they do say, because what they might share with you are some things that are very relevant to this job. So for example, if this job requires them to work on teams and work with others, and obviously work with customers, and they indicate that their favorite thing is that they get to work alone and they don't have to interact with anyone, that tells you a little bit of something about whether or not this person might be a good fit for the job. You might also ask them Question like that, same logic. Okay. I generally do not ever ask questions, what is your greatest strength and greatest weakness? I don't think that they tell you very much, and I think that it really doesn't help differentiate candidates, so I rarely, if ever, ask those. I might ask something like, what interests getting them thinking forward. To see how much time they've spent thinking about this particular job or the company and that sort of thing. Okay, so again, you can learn some very helpful and useful things about the candidate from these opening questions, but they should be fairly open and let them take them in whatever direction that they want. For the next section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy, and now I'm going to paste, and you'll see that bullet went in there. I don't like that, so I'm just going to delete it. What I'm doing now is I'm indicating for this particular page what KSAO or task, etc. do these particular questions deal with. And so by copying and pasting it down there, I'm simply saying these questions deal with customer interactions. So the first question might be something along the lines of something like that. A second one might be something like that would be just fine. Oh, that's not a question. And the follow-up for any behavioral interview question, if they don't answer it, would be those three things are the things that we're looking for anytime we go through a behavioral interview. Those are the things we want the candidate to respond to. And if you are going through a behavioral interview, those are the things you should be responding to. Then up here up top is a simple scale that the hiring manager can use to score this particular area. And as it says, leave blank for the hiring manager, and the ACEs is simply a shorthand for the situation, action, and result. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go through the exercise, but I would copy and paste the next one here, the next one here, and I would be simply creating the questions that go along with it. Closing questions, very simple. There's a couple of quick examples. You don't want to ask any more behavioral. You want to give them an opportunity to ask you some questions and to fill in any blanks that they think is important. The better job that you've done on your job description, this can be a very, very short, quick, and easy activity. All it takes is to identify what are the key areas that you're going to ask questions about, and then designing some behavioral interview questions to match.